Maybe it was like this for you. I have to believe it's like this for anybody on the precipice of giving your life to Jesus.
Welcome to Getting Literal with the Bible, your premier source for biblically proportioned Bible interviews.
This is so fascinating. So as you drew near to Christ, you discovered more of yourself.
I discovered I discovered myself. Period. Oh my goodness, I didn't know who I was until I was able to see myself through Jesus's eyes. Because I'd
Wow.
always wondered, Lord, why did you make me so big? My mother is not tall. My father is not tall. I have tall aunts and uncles, but there's no reason for me to be tall. And they're all very tall and thin. And
Mm.
I'm in the way, right? I am in the way. And so and I have this smile that I've always had, and my voice has always been loud. And when you're a young kid growing up in Eugene, Oregon, in elementary and junior high school, I could count the other kids of color on two hands and have some fingers left over. And when I got into high school, it might have been, I might have just needed somebody else's hand, right? And so I just wanted to fit in, and I didn't fit in any way, shape, or form. The color of my skin, the size of my body, the volume of my voice, and it just I didn't know how to reconcile that, and it wasn't until I had given my life to Jesus, and as a matter of fact, it really wasn't until that I had accepted the call to ministry that I understood why I am the way I am. And I want to be as humble about this as I possibly can, because it's only by the grace of God. But he told me that I made you so big so people could see you, right? I I,
Yes.
I gave you that smile so
Yeah.
people would know that you're a safe place. In those moments when you realize these things, it puts everything, the entirety of your life, in perspective, in order. And I could go on forever about how determined I am, even more than preaching the gospel. And let me be clear, I love preaching the gospel. I'm called to preach the gospel, but I will tell my testimony of what God has done in my life, right, at the drop of a hat, because everyone should know what God can do for them and in them. That's my puppy. I apologize.
No, no worries. No worries.
Please pray for the channel. That's probably more important than like, sharing, and subscribing. So make sure you pray for the channel because we want to get this stuff out to the people who really need it, who need to know that life change is possible through an interaction with God and His Word. So make sure you get this out, and videos drop on Fridays. Videos drop on Fridays.
Pastor Jeremy, tell us about the primary theme of Romans as you see it.
Okay, well, the primary theme of Romans is you've given your life to Jesus, and you are determined to live your life for Him. And that's great. But there's a real world out there, and there's an enemy of your soul that doesn't want that. Doesn't want that. And so every obstacle that the world can throw at you is going to be thrown at you. Romans teaches you how to not only uh, recognize and identify these challenges, but how to overcome them, right? Overcome them, and the rewards and kind of the peace that comes with that, and the empowerment to overcome those things.
Wow.
And that's, I guess, that's how I see it. And I'm no scholar. I'm no theologian, but that's how it was for me.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, what would you say is the key verse?
Well, I just happen to have my Bible right here,
He came prepared.
and so starting at Romans chapter 8, verse 12. And I'm reading out of the Amplified, and just uh, as a side note, uh, when I study from the Amplified, but if I'm teaching, I tend to teach from the New King James simply because in the 2 years that I've been in ministry, I've already heard multiple people say, well, you're teaching from so and so and so and so, and that's not, and so I tend to teach from the New King James so I can say to people, don't take this up with me. You have to take it up with Jesus. If you have an issue with what I'm saying, you have to take it up with the author. I'm just a pastor, right? But if I'm studying, I like to study from the Amplified just because I like the smorgasbord of information that you can get in the Amplified.
It is as it sounds, yes.
Yes. So Romans 8, starting at verse 12. So then, brothers and sisters, we have an obligation, but not to our flesh, our human nature, our worldliness, our sinful capacity, to live according to the impulses of the flesh, our nature without the Holy Spirit. For if you are living according to the impulses of the flesh, you are going to die. But if you are living by the power of the Holy Spirit, you are habitually putting to death the sinful deeds of the body. You will live forever. And,
Wow.
I think that just, if you want to say in a nutshell, right? In a nutshell, to me, uh, that can encapsulate Romans. Obviously, there's a world more, but that to me is what it's about, right? It's about crucifying your flesh to Jesus for purpose and submitting to the Holy Spirit for truth, for guidance, and for wisdom in all things.
Tell me what kinds of things were going through your mind when you first encountered those truths.
Oh boy, maybe it was like this for you. I have to believe it's like this for anybody on the precipice of giving your life to Jesus. Well, no, not giving your life to Jesus, but fully deciding to submit your life to Jesus, right? When you take that step of full submission, at least for me, the moments before, I felt like I was as nervous as someone maybe trying to defuse a bomb. Like, is this the right decision? I don't know if I'm making the right decision. This decision could be catastrophic, right? And there were a couple of things that went along with it. One, this decision can't be as big as it's being made out to be. Two, this decision won't be as big as I'm thinking it's going to be. Three, other people and me included won't believe that the change is real, right? So those things were going through my head before, as I'm sitting there contemplating, saying to myself, Jesus, I want to give my life to you completely, but I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm I'm sweating, I'm shaking. It's gonna cost me. I'm thinking it's gonna cost me everything. And I remember me and my wife, we were sitting in our apartment watching TV, and I'm having this inner turmoil. And I'm like, we've been going to church for a few weeks, and the things that I've been hearing, they sound great, and I feel like you're speaking to me, and things are as real as I can understand. But I don't know. So I need you to give me a sign. And I'm not talking about like a whisper on the wind or some leaves hitting the window kind of a thing. I need I need a neon sign in my face that says, Jeremy, this is the right decision, and this is me speaking to you. And right at that very moment, my wife, who's sitting next to me, goes, I'm done. I'm done. And if we got into the entirety of my testimony, I was so scared that she was done with me, right?
Yeah.
Done with
Yeah.
me. And I'm like, I thought she was going to divorce me. And she said, I'm done living my life for myself. I'm done hiding the fact that I love Jesus. I'm gonna live my life. Jesus is gonna be on my social media. All my friends are gonna know whenever people meet me. And I look over at her. I'm like, are you serious? Because I'm sitting here thinking the same thing, and I want to give my life to Jesus 100%. I want everything to come through Him, because every decision I've made in my life has been terrible. And when I leave my life, I run it into the dirt. And in just a few weeks that we've been going to this church, our life it feels like it's turned around. So I want to be all about that. I want us to be, I said, I want us, when people meet us, they're going to meet the Parkers who love Jesus. And I want them to know we are the Jesus freak Parkers, that Jesus is number one in our lives. And at that very moment, both of us together, we decided that Jesus was going to be at the center of our lives, the center of our marriage, the center of our existences. And man, on the other side of the decision, as soon as that happened, you realize this is the greatest decision I've ever made in my life. And actually, it was the easiest decision I've ever made in my life. I mean,
Wow.
right from that moment, my life has not been the same. And now I know what joy is. I know what peace is. It's not just something that I say or something that I hope for or wish for. It's something that I understand, and it's something that I strive for, right? And so that's 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 for me. What we're talking about is, as far as these decisions and the ramifications and the real world implications. Yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you definitely are a lightning rod. There's so much joy in that, and I love how you got real about the decision itself was difficult, but it was the best thing you ever decided. That's wonderful. Wow.
Please return for part 3. I am certain it'll be good for you. Sincerely, friends, thank you so much for making us part of your spiritual journey. If our content resonates with you or someone you care about, please feel free to stop by www.stairwaydivision.org/partners to support us on our spiritual journey in service to you. Thank you.